Hey everyone, Jay Whitner here with Space Headlines. We do a quick recap every week of what's going on in space, and today we're going to cover the last week of 2019. We start with Boeing Starliner. The Starliner had an uncrewed test flight, and the vessel landed safely after the mission. However, the flight did not achieve the objectives or didn't achieve all the objectives. Part of what the Starliner was supposed to do was to rendezvous and dock with the International Space Station, laying the groundwork and reducing risk for a crewed flight to the space station. So NASA is in a position now where they have to decide whether the test flight was adequate, and it certainly appears that if astronauts had been aboard the Starliner during the flight, that they would have landed safely, although they would not have reached the space station. So the NASA contract calls for the rendezvous and docking with the space station. The NASA is going to have to decide, if they feel comfortable moving forward without having achieved those objectives. A Russian Proton carried a satellite aloft. The launch took place from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. It was a weather satellite called the Electro L3, and it's going to take up a geostationary orbit, and from that position it will deliver weather information to Russia. The 2010s had a lot of significant space events throughout the decade, and I thought I would touch on a few of those since there were several articles at the end of the year about the decade of the 2010s. Some of these were the final flight of the Space Shuttle, which took off in 2011. So we're moving up on 9 years since we've had Americans take flight on American hardware for space. In addition to the Space Shuttle, we also saw SpaceX reuse a rocket for the first time. We saw a spacecraft landing on the far side of the moon for the first time. And the Artemis mission of returning people to the moon was announced, and the target date is 2024. In 2020, SpaceX has big plans, which should come as no surprise. They plan to double the number of launches that they had in 2019. So this year, in 2020, they're expecting over 30 rockets to be launched by SpaceX. Among other things, they're planning over 20 launches of the Starlink satellites for the satellite internet constellation that they're working on. They're also planning a launch of a Falcon Heavy rocket and the first crewed Dragon launch. So depending on the timetable for the Boeing Starliner, this could be the first time Americans have flown to space from American shores since the Space Shuttle. NASA selected their launch vehicle for an upcoming GOES weather satellite launch. The launch is going to be on an Atlas V, which is a United Launch Alliance hardware. The launch is planned for 2021, and it will be the 18th of these GOES weather satellites to be launched. As I've mentioned previously today, the SpaceX company is working toward a Crew Dragon launch, the first time for crew to go to space on the Dragon. And they released a nice animation of what the mission is going to look like. It lasts about 2.5 minutes, so it won't take up too much time to watch it. You can check that out and see if you enjoy it. I certainly did. It was on CNET, by the way. Elon Musk, as I'm sure that anybody watching our show is aware, is not only the head of SpaceX, but is also the head of Tesla, the electric car company. And Tesla confounded all the projections by sort of building another assembly line from scratch using a huge tent-like structure to get Teslas out to the market faster. SpaceX is taking a page from the Tesla book and is doing the same kind of thing in Texas. They've hired this company that's right now is building a huge tent-like structure. It's called Sprung Instant Structures is the name of the company. And apparently it's only going to take them roughly a month to assemble this very large tent-like building that's going to have 38,000 square feet of working space. And they may double that in the future by sort of adding another module to make it another 250 feet long. The original piece is 250 feet long. So SpaceX is pushing hard on Starship to keep things moving along. That's it for our coverage for the final week of 2019. Thanks for watching. Check with us soon, and we'll have the first week of 2020. We'll see you then.